Yo, what's up with y'all boys and girls, man? Hey, it's Jay Briggs here with Picks from the DawgHouse NFL edition. Y'all know who's here with me. Money Man Mitch and Big Al McMorty. Mitch, how you doing this week?
I'm doing good. The NFL's treated me well the last three Sundays. It's not really generally my main sport. I have a winning record overall. I'm just getting juiced slightly though in the number, so I'm not positive for the season. But I'm like just pocket change from getting there, and I'm hoping to get there this week with some more solid picks. I think I'm really seeing the board well, which always helps.
There you go. There you go. Big Al McMorty, how you doing this week, sir?
Doing good. Enjoyed the San Antonio Spurs win last night. Wembyama goes for 50 points. So, yeah, he's getting better.
Yes, he is. The future. We're starting to see those flashes. I think him and Chris Paul in that pick and roll, I was really like to saw in that game. So we'll see what's up with those Spurs. They're one of those weird teams right now where it's like the flashes. Sometimes they still do dumb things. We'll see. But hey, NFL, Mitch, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I'm right at 500. I think I'm 36 and 35 on the season, plus seven. Though, you know, not getting juiced, but basically getting juiced. So I had a rough start though. So this last couple of weeks, I kind of been putting the pieces together. A really good week for me last week, and just trying to keep the momentum rolling forward in the NFL. Last week was a really dog week in the league. Let's see what happens this week, fellas. Why don't y'all say let's go ahead and hop right in. First game up. We got a good one. Let's talk about a good one, man. We're in Pittsburgh, where the Steelers are 3-point home dogs with the Baltimore Ravens rolling in. Mitch, how you feeling here?
I think it's going to be a good one. I mean, these two teams generally play each other extremely tough. I think the Steelers have been a little bit underrated this season. I think we saw that again last week, where they just, very solid. I just think that they just play really good defense, and that's going to take you places. I really liked what they're doing. I think the Ravens also, playing some strong football, but replay was invented in Pittsburgh, and it comes down to a bad call in a close game, which these generally do. I wouldn't be surprised if this one gets on, for favorite bettors, a bad number. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes on a 2, and stays there. I just can't do it. I got to take the home team here, getting 3, which is, essentially, getting, it makes the game a pick 'em, right?
Yeah. Al, how you feeling here?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything Mitch just said. It's a series that's generally gone to the underdog. It's also been relatively low scoring. The under has now cashed 7 straight in the series, and when the OU line was 39 points or more, the under's gone 28, 14, and 2. So I'm going to take the under.
The Steelers have won 7 of the last 8 and have cashed against the number in 7 of the last 8 in this series as well. I didn't even realize that.
Been a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
mean,
Steelers. It's been a Steelers dominated series, and I like the
yeah,
Steelers in this one as well. Were you going to say, Al?
I was going to say it's an underdog dominated series. I mean, Baltimore's been basically the better team over the last few years. So when the Steelers are covering, they're usually doing it as a dog.
The Baltimore win was 16-14. There were 2.5-point dogs in that game. So, but it was still a 2-point game in that one. And I think this one's close to that.
I think the Steelers win this one outright. I've been kind of on that Steelers train this season. I've been on that. Mike Tomlin, one of the best head coaches in the league, and the last couple seasons he's just had bad quarterbacks, backup style quarterbacks. This season he doesn't. He had a high draft overall pick in Justin Fields to start the season, and now he has a Super Bowl winning quarterback at the helm who's been there, done that in Russell Wilson with a really great defense. And when you pair a Super Bowl winning quarterback with a really good defense with a Hall of Fame head coach, good things usually follow. And I think that's exactly what's happening here with Pittsburgh. So getting points with this style team at home, sign me up. And getting plus money with this style team at home, sign me up. I know Lamar Jackson, the favorite for the MVP, balling right now again. His numbers right now are probably even better than they were a season ago, more touchdowns at least. I get it. They got Derrick Henry in that backfield, but we've seen them stumble. And we know what happens in these division games with the Ravens. These are the teams that are built to beat them. When they play anybody else, I feel comfortable laying points with the Ravens. But these style games, I never do. I like Pittsburgh here in this one.
The thing about Pittsburgh also that I didn't mention, and I'm not like one of these player guys, fantasy players or anything like that. But I know that, most people know that I hate the tight ends that, put on a show. And, like Travis Kelce or Kittle, I can't stand those guys. But this Freiermuth, however you say it, on Pittsburgh, he just seems to catch these 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3s, solid possessions for the first down, and just doesn't drop it every single time. And to have like that bailout guy there, it just makes the quarterback so much better. Last week he had 3 catches for three catches. It was only thrown to 3 times. He had 17 yards and a touchdown. And I mean, that's to me, I'd rather have that than some guy, dancing up and down every time he catches a ball. And I thought it was really, really. I bet you every one of those catches was a first down or the touchdown. I bet you every single one of them was.
Let's keep it rolling. Next game up, we're in Detroit. We're the Lions, man. Big boy favorites in this one. They're laying 14 points right now currently on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Total 46.5. Big Al McMorty. It's a lot of lumber to lay. You laying it?
I'm not, but I'm not taking it either. I'm going to look at the total in the game again. Look what Detroit did. They scored 52 points 3 games back versus Tennessee. And at the time, that was the 4th straight over played by the Lions. Their games had combined for 71, 56, 60, and 66 points. But then, not surprisingly, after scoring 52, the Lions' offense has taken a bit of a breather the last 2 games. They did win both, but their offense wasn't doing what it did before, and they scored just 24 and 26 points their last 2 games, and both of those went under the total. But importantly, those 2 games, against Houston and Green Bay, they were on the road. Now Detroit is back home. And the Lions offense, I think, is going to get back on track, and it's going to kind of resemble what it did before these 2 road games. And for technical support, consider that Detroit is now 20-4 over the total at home if they did not go over the total in their previous games. So don't be surprised if Detroit puts up a lot of points this Sunday.
Do they put up 50 though?
They can easily put up 38.
Man, I don't trust the Jags to do much of anything with Mac Jones at the helm. Last week on the morning show, I told you guys take the Mac Jones INT. What do you end up throwing? 2 of them things. We're right back on the Mac Jones INT again this week. It's probably my. Hey, I'm gonna load it up. Like, we love betting Mac Jones to throw interceptions. But in this one, I tried to get cute last week and take the Texans outright on the money line on Sunday Night Football. Should have just grabbed the points. It happens. But the Lions, right now, they look like the best team in the NFC. Most of the time, I tell you guys, unless I have a clear, concise reason to fade Detroit, I'm just not really interested in doing so. Last week, I thought it was the spot to fade them, though, for Houston, coming off the mini-bye, double primetime games in a row. Thought it was a great spot for Houston, but here, there's nothing that puts me on Jacksonville. Jacksonville, without Trevor Lawrence now, maybe they were already one of the worst teams in the league. Now they're 30 of 32. Like, they're in that realm. So one of the best going up against one of the worst. It's double digits, but I know double-digit dogs were covering early. I don't think this is one of those. I'm going to lay it here with Detroit. Mitch?
I'm going to take the Jags in this one. Nobody's surprised, I'm sure. The thing is that, the Lions, over their last 3 games, they're actually the defense has actually gotten – where is it? So the offense is actually – their production is down about 30% on yards per game over the last 3 compared to their season numbers. But, they still continue to grind it out, but they're just not putting up the big numbers like Al said. Meanwhile, when you look at the Jaguars, they're giving up more yards than ever now over their last 3, but their last 3 have all been covers, including 2 against teams in the same division as these same Detroit Lions. Plus getting way more points, the Jags just find a way. If they play just a hair better than what they've been playing at all, 14's a gift. I'm going to take the 14 points here with the Jags. And I think in the NFL, if there's 2 touchdowns out there, you basically have to take it. You don't have a choice. And it's like, I understand I'm not going to win every time taking 14 points, but I don't know. I feel crazy thinking that, it's the Detroit Lions. I mean, we're halfway through the season. They don't give out championships in November.
The money-making Lions, though. And I know there's a team. If there was 14 next to another team, I know you're not grabbing it in the Panthers.
But it never happens. It's so rare. It's so rare that the books will just let a team just roll them over for a season. I mean, it just doesn't happen.
Sure. So this one has backdoor written over on it. It does. It does.
So I was looking at the season stats because, we've been talking throughout the season about how those big dogs were doing. And there were not a lot of huge prices like this one earlier in the year. All the kind of underdogs are in the 6, 7, 8 range, right? So this season through the underdogs, when they're +6 to +8.5, they're 30 and 12 ATS. But when underdogs have gotten 9 or more this season, they're 1 and 6 ATS.
So big favorites have been covered.
Big favorites of 9 or more have actually done great, but the 6 to 8.5 price point is where all the dogs are coming in.
Fair enough. Anything else, fellas, in this one before we keep it pushing? All right, let's keep it rolling then. We head to New England, where the Patriots are 5-point dogs with the Los Angeles Rams rolling in. Rams land 5 on the road. The Rams, man, I know a lot of people were upset about that loss to Miami last week. That was that's just one of them ones where it's like Miami have been playing so bad. It wasn't shocking to finally see them step up and get one. We did see the New England Patriots off the win beating Chicago. I think that game last week was more about Chicago than it was New England. I've been harping all season. I don't think the Bears are a good team. I don't. And I think it's starting to come to the forefront. And this one, the Patriots off a win, they probably won't have many more this season. I think they're a fade. I think this is just a bounce back, get right spot for the Rams. Am I in love with laying 5? Not really. This is one of my least favorite games of the week this week, but it's Rams or nothing for me here. They're head and shoulders the better football team. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was like a 17-10, 21-10 style win for the Rams on the road. So that's kind of how I'm looking at this game. Mitch?
Yeah, the Rams catch some unusually mild November weather here in New England for this one. And, the Patriots, as much as I've been down on them this season, they have covered 3 in a row, including outright wins in 2 of their last 3. It was the Bears and the Patriots, the Bears and the Jets. But, so be it. The Rams are a 4-5 team. Also in just 3-6 against the number, and 1-3 straight up on the road this season. Here they are, as a road favorite now. So the Rams, despite Cooper Kupp being back and Nakua, and they had the 3 wins in a row: the Raiders, the Vikings, and the Seahawks. But most of those wins, that they piled up were at home, and here now going on the road. I don't know. I think this is one of those ugly Ram games, and I think the disturbing thing for the Rams really wasn't that they gave up, the first down at the end of the game to lose it and all that stuff. It was they could not get the ball in the end zone. They could not get it in. They were knocking on the door. I don't know how many punts they had in that game, but I'm going to guess it's less than 3. And they could not score touchdowns. So it was just terrible. Let's see. How many punts did they have? They had 3 punts in the game, the Rams. And they just could not get in the end zone. So it's tough to win games in the NFL when you're constantly settling for field goals, especially when you're getting penalties that are knocking you out of scoring touchdowns. So I'm going to roll with the Patriots in this one. I think it's a field goal game either way. I think it's a coin flip.
Fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Rams. I think it's a really good bounce back spot. It didn't surprise me what they did against Miami. That was really a really good situation for the Dolphins and also for the under in that Monday Night Football game. So that kind of was what I expected. But now off that game, now they step down in class to play one of the worst teams in the league. The only other team that would rival, how bad New England is that's been on the Rams' schedule thus far was the Las Vegas Raiders. The Rams have played a lot of good teams this year. I don't think they're going to have a problem in New England. I also like taking road favorites of 7 or less points or pick them. They're off a straight up loss, and the home team is off a straight up win. Those road favorites have gone 139 and 98 ATS. Another thing that I like about this game is that you've got a West Coast team traveling out east, and I've mentioned it a few times here on the show. One of the biggest myths that you will hear people in the gambling sphere talk about is they think that West Coast teams don't travel well when they play out on the East Coast in the NFL, but the opposite is true. The West Coast teams going back to 1980, 377 and 316 ATS in the Eastern time zone, including 21 and 12 the last 2 seasons. So look for the Rams to blow out New England.
Fair enough, fellas. Let's keep it pushing. Next game up, we're in New Orleans, where the Saints laying 1 point on the Cleveland Browns. This is an interesting game here. Jameis back in New Orleans. This one. Mitch, you're up first here. How you feeling?
Both these teams are just really bad and really underachievers. But, the Browns, have a week off, to think about what they've done, which is, it's kind of a timeout situation, right? Or put in timeout. But Nick Chubb, 15 carries for 39 yards last time we saw him against the Chargers. Not effective there. They got to get Nick Chubb going if they expect to do anything against anyone. But the Saints, a lot of that skid that they were on, and you can fire the coach and do whatever you want, but, they had some major injuries over that. Quarterback, running back, wide receivers, everything. Taysom Hill, backup quarterback, whatever he is. All kinds of injuries. They still have all kinds of injuries. But, the Browns have Jerry Jeudy, so I got to take the other team. I'm taking the Saints.
Al?
I'm going to run the other way. Oh, you said you're taking the Saints, Mitch?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Saints, too.
I would take any – we have a game that we play on the morning show. It's called we just pick any player, and would you rather have them or Jerry Jeudy? And for me, it's anyone on the Saints. I'll take over Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, it's I would be more interested in Cleveland, off the bye if they were an underdog, because usually the bad teams off the bye do well as underdogs. Right now, they're mainly favored by 1. There's some pick'ems out there. Circa has New Orleans as the 1 point favorite, but most people don't. I like New Orleans too. It's a tough game. I really don't want any part of it, but I would take New Orleans before I would take the Browns, mainly because it's the second game for Darren Rizzi as interim coach, and those teams typically do well the first 2 times. And we saw what they did last week, in his first game, and I think it'll carry through one more game. So I'll take New Orleans.
I cashed New Orleans last week. I don't want to sign back up for it this week. Caught it good. This is a bad football team is what they are. They got a bad quarterback. The receiver core is depleted. Is vibes and home enough to bet them? In my opinion, nah. If I were betting this game, I would bet Cleveland. But it's bottom of the barrel for me in this one as well. I said the other game was my least favorite. This is probably my least second favorite. I'm just being real. I do got some games this week I do like, but these two are not one of them. I would lean Cleveland, forced to pick this one, fellas, but yeah, I'll pass it. Let's keep it rolling. Next game up, we head to New York, where the Jets are laying 4 points on the Indianapolis Colts. Big Guy McMorty, you on them Jets this week?
Oh, geez, just shoot me. Christ. I was on them last week. I'll be on them this week.
Oh, no.
I'll be on them when I'm in my grave. When Aaron Rodgers is playing next year, I'll be on them. Jesus Christ. Yeah. There's always one team each year. This year it's the Jets, right? But, they're often upset loss as a road favorite. And when you get a team off an upset loss as a road favorite that scored less than 7 points in that defeat, they've cashed 71.1% going back 45 years. I'm on the Jets, and just shoot me.
Oh, Big Al, Big Al, Big Al. I'm on the Colts, man. I gotta be on the Colts in this one. Anthony Richardson back under center. I don't know if that really does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't. I think they should have. This is what they should do. I mean, you draft a guy that high, it's your duty to see what you have and give him the best chance and opportunity to do so. Not turn into the 40-year-old whose career's already over. Like, I don't know. But what I do know is I'm not laying points with bad teams, and the Jets are a bad football team. That's what they are. And everybody keeps waiting on them. The Jets, man, I think they're going to be better week after week after week. Just trust your eyes. They're a bad football team. Devontae Adams can't save them. Aaron Rodgers can't save them. Firing the coach can't save them. What else have they done? It wasn't Zach Wilson's fault. It wasn't Sam Darnold's fault. I'm just trying to think of all the excuses over the last couple of seasons it's been for the Jets. And again, at the end of the day, there was one thing I said coming into the season, and I'm just circling back to it. At the end of the day, there's two teams that are just who they are. The Chicago Bears and the New York Jets. More often than not, you fade them, you're going to be just fine. I'm on the Colts, plus the points and outright money line. Mitch, how you feeling?
I don't mind having Richardson on the bench for some of the game and putting him in spots because he is a quarterback that's way light on experience. He only started 1 year at Florida, and then he didn't really play that many games last year. So if they would have put him in some of those goal line situations, kind of like to bring him in and to at least present some options, I think they would have at least covered the spread last week at worst against Buffalo. But they just couldn't get it in from the red zone either. But I think that, he presents some problems here. And, the NFL last week did a real nice job with those late games. It was the Titans, Chargers, the Jets, Cardinals, and the Eagles, Cowboys, which meant when I was out at the grill, making my fajitas for, making some fajitas out there, I didn't have to worry about missing any of the games or anything because those games were long.
They were all blowouts.
They were all blowouts at that point. And, they showed Devontae Adams sitting on the bench next to Aaron Rodgers. And he was just kind of staring off into space, and he kind of leaned over to Rodgers on the side, and he said something, and I think he said, I wish I was home just watching the MF and Jam session right now, because I think that Rodgers just looks like he just doesn't want to be there, and Devontae Adams is missing Vegas, because at least, even if he gets murdered on the field, he can go out to the casino and get murdered on the nickel slots afterwards, because I'm telling you, they're not even having fun in New York. It's like, it's one thing to have fun and to be building something. And, when you're veterans at this point, you have more fun. You got to win now. And it's like, they're not going to win now. And this coach can't draw up a game plan. And now you're up against the Colts, and they have a better running back than your great running back. And they've got, a better quarterback than you have too, because Aaron Rodgers looks done. And it's like the Colts have a really good guy in their middle of their defensive line who's probably a Hall of Famer, DeForest Buckner. And I think the Jets are in just some real deep doo-doo. And I'll tell you, Aaron Rodgers got absolutely just depleted last week by that Cardinal pass rush. I mean, he got just crushed. And the fact that he's saying that he wants to come back for next year, I mean, I always thought he was one of the smartest players in the league. And it's like, I just can't see him coming back for this. It's like, why would you come back for this?
I don't think he wants it to end this bad, but I mean, it's probably going to be the same thing next year.
If he's with the Jets, it will be.
Yeah.
Maybe he goes to Miami like he should have gone the first time.
Keep it rolling. Let's head to Tennessee, where the Titans are 6-point home dogs with the Minnesota Vikings rolling in. Vikings, in my opinion, are the better football team. I understand it's Will Levis under center. If there was a spot where I would trust Will Levis and the Titans again, it would be this one. I'm just starting to think that the Vikings are starting to become just a little overrated, a little overvalued. They are the better team in this one, but laying basically a touchdown on the road with Sam Darnold as my starter, I just don't feel comfortable. I'm sorry. I just don't feel comfortable. And a team like Tennessee, a team that can run the football, all it's going to take for them really in this game to do is come out, score the first touchdown, and then Minnesota's kind of playing from behind, and then we're just on a great number all game. That's kind of how this game makes me feel. So I'm grabbing the points in this one with the home dog in the Tennessee Titans. Minnesota is definitely the better football team and definitely should win the football game, but that still doesn't warrant laying basically a touchdown on the road. That's my thoughts. Mitch?
Yeah, this one's Vikings by 150. I don't even see how it happened. Last week, the Chargers were like my play of the century against this same Titans team, all for the same reason I like the Vikings here, and that is the Titans are 27th at protecting the quarterback, and they've given up, almost fifth most sacks of any team in the NFL, and the Vikings are fourth in the NFL in sacks. Then also Will Levis and company, 32nd in the league in interceptions thrown, and the Vikings number 1 in the NFL in intercepting the football. This is a bad matchup, especially since the Titans didn't throw an interception last week. Now, last week, and I understand how a lot of people, they were leaning to the Titans in that game, and I heard a lot of Titans talk, and I didn't understand it, and I still don't understand how you get there today, all for the same reason. And I said to my wife, I said under my breath as I was out by, the grill grabbing the peppers, the little tray, that they go on, I said they're getting home. And she said, what? What are you talking about? And I said, watch this. And she watched, and it was Will Levis getting depleted again. And I said, that's what's called getting home. It's like, because they were just getting home on them all game long. And I think in the second half especially, and Bosa was only playing one down per series. And I think, the pass rush is getting home. I thought Levis does some nice things. He threw, they got the ball to Calvin Ridley a lot more, right? They got them to a lot more in that game. When they got the ball to Ridley, he was super effective. But outside of that, they had nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. Pollard had a nice run, but then by the time that they got that established, you can't run the football when you lose 9 yards on first down every time. And that's what happens. Except, the weird thing was in that game, and I didn't even realize that it worked this way, is that there was a play where Will Levis got really blindside smashed and he fumbled the football, and then one of the offensive linemen picked it up and started stumbling down the field for a 6-yard gain, like overall, because it was, 3rd and 25 or something. And he got like 6 yards on it, and they didn't count that as a sack because they actually got positive yards on the play, even though Levis. So I guess it was a pressure. I don't know what it goes by, but what I call it was really a slaughter. And I think I could see the Titans getting slaughtered again. They are the worst team in the league. I mean, they stink. And you look at this Vikings defense, it's not even just the pass rush. They're number 1 against the run in the NFL. Yards per carry, 3.8, third best in the NFL. Completion percentage, they're right up there. The Titans bottom in all of these categories. They got no chance. 0. I don't see it. They're going to lose by 50 in this one. Jim Harbaugh, like super conservative offense, man. I mean, like run, field goal, run. I mean, the Chargers settled for field goals 3 times inside the 5-yard line and still won by a million. I'm disgusted with the Titans. They got no excuses.
Yeah.
I'm discussing with the Titans too because I had them last week, and Folk had a 20 field goal streak stopped when he can't even hit a relatively chip shot field goal.
It was like 55 yards.
It was 50 yards, and professionals these days can make that in their sleep.
He has a weird motion for a modern kicker.
I mean, look, he made 20 in a row. You can't anyway. When I've got them plus 7.5, he misses the field goal. Anyway, I'm taking the Tennessee Titans again. I guarantee you they will not lose by 50.
He's got the Titans and the Jets again. It's like it's a death wish.
But
like
I don't have
about
the
your
Patriots
Panthers pick a few weeks ago. Not going to get any sympathy over here on these.
Yeah. Oh well. I mean, look. We already talked about how well the underdogs price from +6 to +8.5 have done this year, 30 and 12 ATS.
Except for the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, Jesus. You're killing me. Okay.
Titans, 13-point dog, did not cover. 8-point dog, did not cover. 10-point dog, did not cover. 2.5-point dog, 2.5-point favorite, did not cover. 2.5-point dog, did cover. They won the game outright. 3-point favorite, did not cover. 4-point dog, did not cover. 4-point dog, did not cover.
I've only heard one of those games was in the 6 to 8.5 point range, though.
Yeah, 8 last week against the Chargers. Go, Chargers, go.
Yeah. Tennessee for me.
Oh, God, no.
Let's keep it rolling.
1-8 against the number on the season for the Titans.
We got the Dolphins laying 7.
How's Michigan State and Northwestern doing? Or which team was kept losing for you? Did they
Northwestern and whoever's playing Indiana? I got slaughtered in both again.
Okay. Well, I'm on Tennessee till the cows come home.
Tennessee and the Jets are my Northwestern and Indiana. I'm getting just crushed on both those teams.
Yes, sir. Let's keep it rolling. We got the Dolphins laying 7 on the Raiders. Mitch, how you feeling?
No chance. I'm taking the Raiders all day and twice on Sunday. The Dolphins won the game out in L.A. It's a mirage. People will start talking playoffs. They only have, they've only played 9 games, so they actually have a shot if they can go on a roll. And they have a team that can. I mean, they certainly have the players, but they have a really bad coach, and that's the problem. And it's like you need, you need better coaching than this. And I just don't understand. I don't think this guy gets any respect at all in the locker room. And, I think you look at this and you look at the Dolphins and you look at the 1-point loss to the Cardinals, 3 points to the Bills. They lost to the Titans 31-12 at home. The Titans have only won 1 game all season. It was Monday Night freaking football at home. They got routed by the Titans. It's like, it's a bad team. The Raiders terrible as well, 2-7, tanking for Travis, but this one doesn't help them. Taking the Raiders, I think they win it on the money line. It's weird that the Dolphins, like when I was a kid going to all the Dolphin games, they had a winning record against every team in the NFL overall, except the Raiders was the only team that had a winning record over them. It was crazy. The Dolphins had a winning record against every single team in the NFL, and they also had the second best Monday Night Football record, except for the Raiders. The Raiders have been the thorn in the Dolphins' side forever, and they are here as well.
Al?
Yeah, I like the Raiders too. They play off the bye week, and when you get really bad teams, they do really well off the bye week, but they need to be getting a lot of points. That's what kept me away from the Cleveland Browns. That was like a near pick-em game, but here you're getting 7.5 from the Dolphins. And when you have a really bad record and you're off the bye week and you're getting 6 or more points in the current game, you've gone 70 and 41 ATS. And this also is one of those West Coast, East Coast situations where the West Coast teams do well playing in the Eastern time zone. So I'll take Las Vegas.
I'm on the Raiders as well. I'm not laying points with bad teams is what it comes down to. Yes, the Dolphins had a nice win last week, but now this week, returning home, they're overrated, overvalued. Not saying they don't win the game, not saying they don't have a chance to go win and still make the playoffs, not saying none of that. I'm just saying that doesn't warrant laying 7 points. Like, it just doesn't warrant that. So, they are the better football team, but the Raiders, like Mitch said, have been a thorn on their side, and I think they keep this game competitive. So, I'm going to grab the points in this one. Let's keep it rolling. We had 2. Chicago, where the Bears are 5-point home dogs with the Green Bay Packers rolling in. We got McMorty. What you doing here?
I'm going to stay away from the side. There's just no way I can take Chicago, given that Green Bay is just, dominated this series. They've won 10 straight and 28 out of the last 33, but I also don't want any part of Green Bay either. So I'm gonna look at the total instead. And there's been a shakeup in Chicago. They fired offensive coordinator Shane Waldron. at the time, going into this game. They ranked 24th in offensive efficiency. They're dead last in yardage. So there's only one way to go up for the Chicago Bear offense, and only one way to go, and that's up. So Thomas Brown's going to take over as coordinator. He was their passing game coordinator, and I just think that just the coaching change is going to provide a spark to the offense. So I'm going to take the over in this game.
Green Bay easily for me here. They own the Bears. I talk about this every time we talk about these two teams. The Packers own the Bears. From Aaron Rodgers yelling, "I own you," to Aaron Rodgers then turning around saying, "Yeah, I need to talk to the new owner of the Chicago Bears, Jordan Love." Like, it's just a running joke, and I'm not switching up from it. The Bears are terrible, and they're in the same wheel they've been in for forever, where they have a GM, he hires a coach who didn't draft that quarterback, and they just keep doing the same rotation. Then they fire them. It's just keep same thing. The Bears are terrible. They're a bad team. Their wins this season are the Panthers, the Jags. Who else did they beat? Panthers, the Jags, the Titans, and the Rams. Those are their wins. This is a bad football team. I'm continuing to fade them. The Packers own them. Mitch?
Bear down, Chicago Bear. Make every play clear victory.
Signing up for the game.
Down, Chicago Bears. Put up a fight, might so fearlessly. We'll never forget the way you thrilled the nation with your T formation. Bear down, Chicago Bears, and let them know you're wearing the crown. You're the pride and joy of Illinois, Chicago Bears. Bear down. I've taken the Packers as my play of the week twice this season. Both times I got absolutely slaughtered. I'm taking the Bears plus the points in this one. Hate the Packers guts. So when in the Aaron Rodgers era, he owned the Bears, and now the Bears are going to get even. And I'm telling you, I don't like this Jordan Love. I don't like this Packers team. I don't like any of this stuff. I'm taking the Bears in this one. I'm not a big Caleb Williams guy. I'm not even a Bears guy. But I'll tell you, I'm less of a Jordan Love guy. I think this guy's the biggest fraud out there. I'm taking the Bears. I'm taking the points at home. Soldier. Should
Keep
be a
it pushing.
beautiful day for a ball game. 14.3 mile an hour wind.
Let's keep it pushing. We head to Denver, where the Broncos are 2.5-point home favorites over the Atlanta Falcons. I'm up here. It's a tough game. I like the Broncos here, though. I'm not. This is dome team on the road, mid-November. Bad spot for Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons. I see this one. Bounce back spot at home at the crib for the Denver Broncos, coming off 2 straight losses on the road to the 2 best teams in the AFC, the Ravens and the Chiefs. Nothing to hang their hat on there. They should have beat the Chiefs last week, but that wasn't happening. The dark magic just wouldn't let it happen. And I think they returned the favor, though, and give them a dub here at home. I'm fading the Dome Atlanta Falcons on the road, facing AFC team. It's just a terrible spot for Atlanta, and I think the line tells you everything you need to know. Mitch?
I'm taking the Falcons in this one. I think it's a really good advantage for them to be on the road on Sunday. This way the fans aren't all confused. Why is Chick-fil-A closed? All those things that they ask themselves each week. The Falcons are the better team here. They have the better record, and they're 5-5 against the number. The Broncos 7-5 against the number. I think we're starting to see Bo Nix do some things that we're maybe surprised, maybe not so surprised that he can do. But they played the Ravens and the Chiefs in back-to-back weeks. 2 tough teams, and here they are against the Falcons. My guess is they're gonna be pretty banged up at home coming into this thing. Teams returning home off of back-to-back road games. I'm not buying it. I'm taking the Falcons here on the grass, in the altitude, and all those reasons why people wouldn't take the Falcons. That's why I am taking them. Out.
Well, you kind of touch upon the reason why I like Denver in this game. I do like the fact that they're returning home off back-to-back road games. And it's not just any old road game. They may have played the two best teams in the league, with apologies to the Detroit Lions anyway. So now they step down in class. It's no surprise they've lost road games as a +9 and a +7 road underdog to Baltimore and Kansas City. So I think this is a really decent situation for Denver to, flex their muscles against a really good but not a great Atlanta Falcon team. Also, from a technical standpoint, 500 or better home favorites of 7 or less points or pick 'em. They've cashed 60% over the last 45 years after losing back-to-back road games where they were underdogs. So it's a good situation, I think, for Denver.
Keep it rolling. We had 2. San Francisco, where the Niners are 6.5-point home favorites over the Seattle Seahawks. Mitch, how you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, people jumped all over the Niners last week with Christian McCaffrey's return, and they kind of took it on the chin in that one where it really counts, against the number. I guess all those, money line favorite parlayers, cashed, but none of the people that I know. But I think that, a little bit more favorable spot here as the Niners continue to get healthy. But at the end of the day, they still have the same problem, and that is quarterback problem. It's like they just don't have a very good quarterback. So in these divisional games, it's going to make them a little bit, more competitive. And I just think that Seattle can hang in there with these guys. I think that, this is not a good year for the 49ers, and that usually Super Bowl losers the following year don't even make the playoffs. And, I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners join that club. I mean, I know now the playoffs are a little more expanded, so more teams make the playoffs. So, it probably has changed that statistic a little bit. But at the same time, 6.5 points in a divisional game with Brock Purdy as your quarterback. Good luck. I'll take the points. Get at Brock Purdy for all I care.
Yeah, I agree with Mitch. Seattle's also really good off back-to-back losses. They're 45-12 ATS following 2 straight defeats, including 25-3 ATS as a single-digit underdog. And Seattle also should benefit from the bye week as well. So I'll take the Seahawks.
Jake.
I'm on the Rams. I mean, not the Rams. I'm on the Niners. Same division, wrong team. I'm on the Niners. I think they smashed the Seahawks. Seahawks are a bad team, man. This is a team that has played 4 of their last 5 games at home and lost all of them. And this is a team that's supposed to have one of the best home field advantages in the league with the 12th man. And they lost 4 straight home games to the Giants, to these same Niners who went in there and busted them up 36-24, to the Bills 31-10, and then overtime to the Rams. Now on the road here, I don't trust them. I think the Niners, ugly game last week, they did come out of there with a win, and I think this one, Seattle, we know who y'all are. We bust y'all up all the time. We're going to do the same thing here. So I'm on the Niners. I'm laying the points. I think Seattle's a team, the later we get on in the season, the later and more they're going to miss their Hall of Fame head coach. Like the rookie head coach, the more the season goes on, McDonald, the more we're going to see him struggle. And the more we're going to be like, yeah, Clappy probably would have did it a little differently here. Pete Carroll probably would have did it a little different here. Pete Carroll's been in those situations. McDonald, this is his first year, and I think we continue to see him struggle. So give me the numbers. Keep it rolling. We had 2. Game of the week. Man, I'm so excited for this football game. This is y'all's chance, man. Y'all want to see it. Y'all want to see the the man get beat. This is y'all's chance. This is y'all's opportunity right here. This is it. If it don't happen right here, man, y'all better.
It will happen somewhere else.
It ain't happen. I don't know. I'm on the train.
How many NFL regular seasons have been played by so 32 teams times what? A Super Bowl, what? 50, 60, right? So
Well, the answer is what, twice?
it's been done twice.
But it's never been done in a 17-game regular season.
No, it's never been done, and it will not be done. They squeaked by the Broncos last week. It's like it's just a matter of it's not if, it's when.
Win is a win. Al, how you picking this game?
You know who I'm taking.
Who?
Who do you think?
Bills Mafia.
I'm hoping it's the Chiefs.
It's the Chiefs.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's not one of my favorite games, but you know, I'm gonna take the words out of your mouth, Jay, because I know what you're gonna say.
You know what I'm gonna say.
You're gonna say something to the effect of, unless I have a reason to go against the best team in the league, I'm not doing it, and I don't have a reason. Something to that effect. You're gonna also talk about how Kansas City is so great as an underdog.
Man,
they're 18-6 straight up and 19-4 ATS. Their last 23 as an underdog, including 17-1-1 ATS away from home. They'll probably say that. You might say, who cares about revenge? You know, defending Super Bowl champs actually do well against revenge-minded teams, going 45-37 ATS, including 14-9 ATS as an underdog. You're going to say something along those lines. And then you're going to say Patrick Mahomes is the greatest and Kansas City is going to three-peat.
Word for word, bar for bar.
I'm gonna look. I mean, for me. I don't love this game. I think the better way to play it is probably just to stay away and go against the winner. To be honest with you, but I mean, if forced to choose, I'm going to take the Chiefs as a dog. But I think the best plan is to just enjoy the game and fade the winner in their next game.
That's a fair assumption. I'm on the Chiefs though, outright money line. 11-3 straight up as an underdog is Patrick Mahomes, man. Here's the thing. I told myself if they were to put the Chiefs as a favorite in this game, I would leave it alone. I would just chill. But then they went and put him as a dog, bro. Y'all went and motivated him. Like, come on. Do y'all not learn y'all's lesson? Do y'all never learn? I'm taking the greatest player I've ever seen, the greatest quarterback in the league, with the best head coach in the league. This is the reason why I think they can do it. Last time it was done, it was the best quarterback in the league with the best head coach in the league with a really strong defense. And that's the exact same formula we have right here with the Chiefs. They're a better defensive team right now than they are an offensive team. But I trust that offense with Mahomes and Andy Reid at the helm. So I think they got a legitimate shot to run the table and three-peat and be considered probably the greatest team of all time when it's all said and done, just because of the three-peatness. Not necessarily saying this exact team, but I'm just saying it'll be a great collective award for history, man. I'm just telling y'all, some people, I think it's a greater thing to say it will happen than to say it won't, because it's never been done. So
I think Mahomes might be the better quarterback, but I think those Steeler teams from the 70s were clearly the most dominant thing I've ever seen. They had I would take the front four of the Steelers against pretty much anybody.
Yeah. Those they won 4 out of 6 Super Bowls, and they would have won 5 out of 6 if Blyer and Franco Harris never got injured in that game against the Oakland Raiders. I mean, they were going to win that game with it.
They also had the Dolphins dead to rights in '72, and Larry Seiple faked a punt on them back before there was such a thing as home field advantage. The Dolphins were actually undefeated and on the road in the championship game.
So,
and
it's a fair argument, you know. I can really just talk from my
I think man for man, player for player. And I understand it's a different era, but I would take Lynn Swann and Stallworth over any receivers the Chief has. I would take Mean Joe Green. Mean Joe Green and Chris Jones is probably even up, man. Mean Joe Green was ridiculous. They also had Jack Ham, Jack Lambert, and Andy Russell. They had Mel Blount, who was ridiculous. I mean, they had 2,000-yard rushers in the backfield with Lynn Swann and Stallworth. Terry Bradshaw, I mean,
Bradshaw was like the weak link for the team.
He was the weak link. He got benched like several times throughout his career there. They put in everybody over. Terry Hanratty played, Joe Gilliam played. It didn't matter, man. It was like and Chuck Noll was just, I mean, he was a guy that threw preseason in the garbage. You want to see a guy throw a preseason in the garbage, you watch a couple Chuck Noll Steeler games. My favorite, I tell the guys on the show in the morning out about back in the day, the defending Super Bowl champions used to play the college all-stars at the end of the season. And the last one was the 78 Steelers played the college all-stars in the rainstorm. And they just stopped the game. And they're just like, enough is enough. It was crazy. It was like a bunch of college players against Mean Joe Green and Elsie Greenwood. It was like Andy Russell and Jack Lambert. It was like, no chance, man.
Yeah, I went to school with Andy Russell's kids. Chuck Noll's wife, I think her name was Mary Ann. She volunteered at our elementary school as like a, just a teaching assistant.
I was at the Super Bowls in Miami. They played twice against the Cowboys in the Super Bowl in Miami, Staubach. And Jackie Smith dropped that touchdown pass.
Oh, yeah.
Against the Steelers. He had it like dead to rights, and they dropped it.
Oh, he was like the Bill Buckner of football for a while.
He was, and the thing is, he was a Hall of Fame tight end.
Yeah, no, it was like the Bill Buckner situation.
Oh man, football. I'm taking my Chiefs, Mahomes and Kelsey and Andy and
those guys. That defense, the Chiefs defense, couldn't hold a candle to that Steelers defense.
Yeah, but nobody could.
They used to call Jay would have been so hype trained on that Steelers. The steel curtain, they called them. They were like, oh, man, the steel curtain.
How you feeling here on these Chiefs? Do they keep it rolling or do the Bills get them?
That Arrowhead Holmes was another guy they had on the defensive line. Yeah. Steve Furness was backup. Filthy.
Good team.
And Lambert, he had no teeth. He was in the middle, the linebacker. He had no teeth, man. It's just like no one wanted to run up the middle on those guys. Anyways, I'm going to go with the Bills here just to be different. They've split this series, the last 6 games. All of them have been this number, right around this number. And they've played a lot of times since 2021. They've split it 3 games apiece. The home field, most of the games. So they've played 6 times since 2021. The game's been in Kansas City every single time except for last year. So they played 6 times. 5 of them were in Kansas City. I'm going to take the Bills in this one. If not now, when? If they don't beat them now, they're never going to beat them. If they don't beat them in this game, they're going to never beat them. Well, then they're never going to beat them. But I think this is their game. They know it. This is their time. And I think, I honestly think they're the better team here. I don't think the Chiefs are a great team this year. I think they're a good team. I don't think they're a great team. And I think Patrick Mahomes is the greatest in the league, but I don't think he's the greatest of all time. And I think, he's not good enough to overcome the deficiencies that they have against a team that has better players at most positions. And I think if the Bills are healthy, man for man, player for player, roster for roster, they have the better team.
No,
they do.
No, they
yes,
don't.
they do.
No, they
yes,
don't.
they do.
No, they don't.
They absolutely do. They do.
If you want to actually go through it, I don't think.
Yeah, we can go through it because when you have a guy that makes as much money as Mahomes does, and Chris Jones, it's impossible.
I'm just trying to think, like right now, if you told, let's go position group, quarterback, check. I'm taking Mahomes over Allen.
Right. Okay. Right.
Running back,
not a gigantic.
Running back, I will go James Cook over the running back for the Chiefs currently. So I'll go Bills there, but receiving core,
Bills taking all the way, man.
No, I'm taking the Chiefs. I'm taking the Chiefs. I'm not Shakir, Coleman. Nah, I'm going with the Chiefs receiving core.
They got nothing there.
Yeah, they do. Rice, Kelsey.
Kelsey's a tight end, and I would take the Bills tight ends over the Chiefs tight ends.
No.
Yeah, I would.
No. If this was the Chiefs receiving core from they got Worthy. If this was the Chiefs receiving core from last year, maybe. But this season, no. And then defensive front, I'm taking the Chiefs. Defensive
Juju
backs.
Smith-Schuster's with the varsity. Your receivers are no good.
Defensive backs.
It's written in stone. If Juju Smith-Schuster is part of the equation, then your whole room stinks.
I don't know. Al, how you feeling about this game?
It's on the Chiefs.
We already talked about him on the Chiefs.
Oh yeah, you did. You did. I forgot you did. Yeah, Mitch. I don't know. I don't know about the man for man, player for player, roster for roster on this.
I think Curtis Samuel's got to be better, man. He's got to be healthy, and it's like if he is, then that gives them Coleman. It gives them Samuel. It gives them a lot more Amari Cooper. It's like they're way better at wide receiver. It's not even close, man.
Nah,
like
we got. They
haven't been playing together.
I have this DeAndre Hopkins over here now. McCole Hardman.
He's 137 years old. He's older than I am.
Hell no.
Yes, he is. He's announced it. He lied about his age. He's like a Cuban baseball pitcher.
I'm taking the Chiefs, man. I'm on the Chiefs. Let's keep it rolling.
Like those Cuban baseball pitchers. It's like, how old are you? 18. It's like, guy's like 43 years old.
We can always count on Jay to be on the Cowboys and the Chiefs, and we can always count on me to be on the Jets and the Titans.
I think I'd rather be on the Cowboys and Chiefs in that equation.
Next up, Sunday Night Football. Earlier, Mitch was loving him some Harbaugh. Do you love him now? Laying 1.5 on them Cincinnati Bengals at home at the crib Sunday night?
I'm going to say something that you've never heard me say before. Jim Harbaugh is the coach of the year in the NFL this season.
Wow.
Yep. He has taken a team that was straight garbage. They are a Super Bowl contender. They are a real Super Bowl contender. They play a style. That is very, very good. And it might be boring. It might not be the fantasy players thing.
Now
but if you can run the football and play defense and not turn the ball over at all, you give yourself a chance to win all the time. These guys kicked 5 field goals and won a football game. I mean, when the Baltimore Ravens, when they won it the first time, when they beat the Giants, the first time they won the Super Bowl, the Ray Lewis, when he was the MVP of the league, they had, I believe, a 6 or 7 game span where they didn't score a touchdown. And I believe that this Chargers team, I don't think they're as good as that Ravens team, but this is a very, very dangerous team. This is a team that can run the football, they can get at the quarterback on the pass rush, and they play defense. And they have good wide receivers and a quarterback that they don't – if they wanted to play a wide-open run-and-shoot offense, they could do that with this guy, but they don't play it, you know? But he certainly has the ability to do it. I think the Chargers are really one of the best teams in the NFL, and we saw it last week against the Titans. That was a beatdown. It might have been 10 points at the end. The Titans scored a touchdown with 18 seconds left to go in the game. But I got news for you. The Chargers sputtered at the beginning for a couple field goals where they should have had touchdowns. That game was never close, man. It was never, ever, ever close. It was a no-doubter. It was an in-gamer. It was all those things all rolled into one. I think the Bengals are just a couple of cards short this year. I think winning does a lot of things for you, but what it also does, what the Chiefs and the Patriots have avoided, is like where it really damages your team and like all the star players leave. So Tyreek, had to go on the Chiefs, but the thing is on the Bengals, it's like they've wanted to keep these receivers together so bad that they've paid the price in other areas, by keeping the receiver group together. So I agree, that the receivers are good, but it's like you've paid the price elsewhere, and it's like I think the Chargers are going to do exactly what they do. They're going to run the football. They're going to play defense. It's going to be a very boring game, and they're going to just wait for the Bengals to make mistakes, which they just seem to do all the time. And this kicker, not nearly as good as he was, the Bengals kicker. McPherson, he was great. Now it's like he's not all that reliable. I'm taking the Chargers, and I think I'm going to say it again. Jim Harbaugh, Coach of the Year in the NFL. I think that the Chargers are one of the biggest turnaround stories. I do believe that when they get into the playoffs, they're going to be a team that nobody wants to play because those are the type of teams. Give yourself a chance to win, man, that always seem to make the run. Those Giants teams that won the Super Bowl were both exactly like this. Eli Manning. Exactly.
Boy. I'm going to look at the total. I mean, DraftKings opened at, what did they open at? 43 and a half or so. No, 44. It's now up to 48. Bet365 opened at 43 and a half. It's up to 48 there as well. So you've seen a huge move on the over. I understand why. I mean, you take a look at what Cincinnati's done with the over-unders. All their games for the most part have been going over this year. The last three combined for 69, 65, and 44 points. But there's two sides to every coin. And the Charger games, this year have been much lower scoring. And I'm just not buying this 4-point move on the over-under. I think it's an overreaction. The Chargers this year, they've gone 7-2 to the under, and their two overs both required a touchdown in the last seconds of the game. There was, or actually, it was a field goal in the Charger-Denver game that sent it over the total with like a minute left. And then last week against Tennessee, it was a meaningless touchdown with, what was it, Mitch, like 35 seconds left or whatever it was to send that over the total. So that's how close the Chargers are to being 9-0 to the under. So, yeah, I'm going to take the under here.
Yeah, that touchdown put it to the over also with 18 seconds left.
Yeah.
So let me tell you.
39, and the total is 39. I mean, it was like nothing.
Let me tell you. Me and Mitch agree on a lot of things, but we couldn't be further from apart on this one. I am on the complete other side about the Chargers. A complete other side. I still think this team could lose out for the remainder of the season. I think that's how bad this football team is. And I think people a lot of times run into the mistake of thinking that record is everything, when in reality it's not. At this current point of the season, these two teams have played two totally different schedules. One team has played almost all the toughest teams in the league and is being penalized for it. The other team has played absolutely fucking nobody. And that's who the Chargers have played. Absolutely nobody.
They beat the Titans, Jay.
I'm not overreacting in this game. This is Bengals for me here in this one. When I look at this football game, I'm just going to run through it. The Bengals schedule, they start season off, they lost to the Patriots. That's unacceptable. But then they turn around, lost to the Chiefs. Undefeated. Commanders, 7-2, solid team. Beat the Panthers, good win. Then they played the Ravens. Then they played the Giants, handled business. Played the Browns, handled business. Then they played Philly. And then they played the Ravens again. So, the losses for the Bengals are understandable. If you put the Chargers in that same schedule,
look, you're right.
They're not coming out on the other side of it scathed. So it's like I'm not moving the needle on the Chargers because they beat up on a bad schedule. I'm not. Sorry. And when I also look at the Chargers, I'm not anointing them on anything. Until they go do something, they are still the Chargers. Justin Herbert, you know how many playoff wins this guy has? 0. So I don't think that they
look at who is his coach.
I don't care. You know who they play. You know who they played in that game? The Jags. So it's not even like they played somebody worthy of beating their chest. They played the Jags,
and they blew a 27.
And the Jags walked them down. Yeah, the Jags walked them down in that game. So it's like this is still the Chargers we're talking about.
The Chargers this year, they're 6-0 versus losing teams, and they're 0-3 versus winning teams.
That's who they are.
6-0 versus 500 or worse teams. And
they lost by 7 against Jay's Chiefs. They lost by 10 to the Steelers and 2 to the Cardinals in the game. They scored the 5 field goals.
And they're going to lose.
No, but I think the reality is in between. They're not.
The Bengals are a losing team, man. The Bengals are a losing team.
Yeah. No, look, the Chargers aren't. The Chargers are a decent team. They're not a great team. They're not an awful team. They're
building. They're getting better every single game.
I agree with Mitch. They're getting better, and they're going to be a team. Look, they don't make mistakes. Harbaugh puts them in a position to win. So. That's all you can ask for.
Yeah, I get it. I'm just taking the team with the better quarterback, the team that has shown, and I Oh no, it's not even a debate. Clear. It's not even. Justin Herbert is the most overrated quarterback in the league.
He's doing what needs.
He's the most overrated quarterback.
You get Patrick Mahomes Staley as his coach and see what he does. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
You get Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady.
That's a fair argument.
As his coach, and see what they do.
Fair argument. Fair. Staley's a bad coach. I agree with you on that, but it's still not like Herbert has come out and done anything special this season. They're winning games.
But honestly, what has Joe Burrow done since the Super Bowl?
I mean, he went to the Super Bowl. He's the only one.
No, I said since.
He's the only quarterback. He's the only quarterback in the AFC that is, when it mattered, beat Mahomes in the playoffs. He's the only one.
But he didn't do it. His defense did.
I will continuously give him credit for that. I will go to until somebody else does.
Burrow didn't beat him. Burrow didn't beat him. In overtime, the Bengals intercepted Mahomes. They intercepted
Burrow was
Mahomes
the quarterback of that.
That's how they won the game.
Burrow was the quarterback
because Joe Burrow.
Toe-to-toe. Gave him that dub.
It wasn't toe-to-toe. How Joe Burrow didn't make the interception.
Toe-to-toe.
They intercepted Mahomes in overtime. That's how they beat them.
Hey, man. I'm just trying to tell y'all. Y'all can continue to
write
off them Bengals. They're going to be
the last 2 years, Cincinnati is 13-14 straight up and 13-12-2 ATS. I mean, they are as mediocre can be. This is not, I don't see a difference between them and the Chargers.
Joe Burrow didn't really play last year. So
I don't care. I mean, he's playing this year and he's mediocre. I mean, it's, I think these two teams are even. That's just my own opinion.
I don't think so, man. I think the Chargers are a better team.
I think the Bengals are the better team. Like, just if you take record and all of it out of it, the Bengals are the better football team. And
the Bengals beat the Raiders, the Browns, the Giants, and the Panthers. So you said the Chargers beat nobody? The Raiders, the Browns, the Giants, and the
their
Panthers.
Losses though, their losses are better losses than the
37-17, slaughtered by the Eagles, who are ass. According
that game got out of hand. That's the only one though. That's the only one.
Dropped the ball for the field goal against
the Cincinnati lost to the Patriots, for gosh sakes.
First game of the season. How
many asterisks do you have with this team?
That's the only one. First game of the season, and they've had a tough schedule.
You said they're all asterisks. All these wins against the Giants.
First game of the season. First game of the season, and then all the other games.
It was the first game of the season for the other team, also.
Man. If y'all want to sell your Bengals stock because they lost to the Ravens in a tight game on the road,
I'm sitting on the fence. I think these two teams are roughly equal, but I'm not.
I think the Chargers are going to the Super Bowl.
Fuck no. I think the Chargers may lose out. They're going to lose this week. Then they got the Ravens on deck. That's an L. They'll
beat them too. The Chargers are going to the Super Bowl. Jim Harbaugh will be coach of the year.
That's an L.
And the Chargers will go to the Super Bowl. And everyone's going to jump on board and say, oh, man, Chargers are going. This will be like my Joe Burrow for Heisman that I picked at 500-1. I got laughed out of town. It was like, oh, he couldn't make it on Ohio State, so he stinks. I'm like, 500-1, Joe Burrow to win the Heisman.
After the Chiefs game.
You ever see my ticket out? My 500
after the Chiefs game, the Chargers will have a losing record. I'm telling y'all right now. After the Chiefs game, the Chargers will have a losing record. Bookie. And then they'll have a mad dash for the remainder of the season against the Bucs, the Broncos, the Patriots, and the Raiders to see if they
get Jordan.
All right. They'll be 6-7 in 4 weeks.
Go Chargers, go! And what if they're what if they're 10-3?
Then I'll tip my cap and I'll say they're going to the Super Bowl. But
all right, we'll be playing that on the loop right there. That clip.
There. Last game of the week.
He'll be like, they're the worst 10-3 team in the league.
I don't believe in them at all.
They don't turn the ball over. It's tough to beat a team that doesn't turn the ball over in the NFL.
Good point. We got the Texans laying 7.5 points on Monday Night Football here in Big D. I'm on the Texans. I'm laying the points. I'm sticking a fork in my Dallas Cowboys. We're done. We're ass. Um, Last week, man, 36 passing yards at half. We'll be finished with 67. For all you Dak haters out there, I'll be trying to tell y'all it's not him, bro. It's not him. He's the savior. If anything, he's our saving grace more often than not. Than a lot of people, a lot of y'all fail to want to believe. But in this one, man, I'm on the tank for Travis mindset with my Cowboys. Maybe even tank for Travis and Shador and Dion. It's over for us, man. It's looking ugly. Texans desperately need a bounce back game. This is now their third straight week on prime time. They've lost in back to back weeks. Last week was a bad loss because they had 5 interceptions in that game and still found a way to lose. But the main point in this game for me is how bad Dallas has been at home, how bad they've been. It's crazy. Taking out, so let's start from regular season last season. If you start from regular season last season, the last game backwards, Dallas was the most profitable home ATS team in the NFL last 2 seasons. They were automatic at home. Since the playoffs last season at home, they've been blown out now in 6 straight games at home. I believe it's 6 straight. It's disgusting. Green Bay blew us out, and we've been blown out in every single home game this season. I don't see it changing here. I just don't see it changing. Give me the Texans. Laying the points. Bounce back spot for them. Cowboys, just keep on tanking, please. Tank for Travis. Tank for Shador. Tank for Dion. Mitch?
Yeah, I don't think they're anything to tank. I think they're going to lose plenty on their own. But I like them here plus the points at least. I don't think they win the game. I could see a heartbreaking disappointment. But I kind of liked what I saw from Trey Lance in that game, and I think that maybe he is the future of the Cowboys. And Jay will spend a few years watching the Trey Lance show. Let's dig under the hood here and look at the numbers. I mean, the numbers are the numbers. He was 4 of 6 for 21 yards passing. He had 21 yards, so he got into double digits there. He had an interception, but those things happen. And then rushing the football, 3 carries, 17 yards, he had an 11-yard run. I mean, money, straight money. Trey Lance, he is the future. I kind of think that it's not just these guys. I think Ezekiel Elliott, is really the problem. Is like getting rid of Pollard and then having no replacement at all. None. Ezekiel Elliott was the replacement for Pollard. He wasn't a 3-down back when he left Dallas. I don't even understand what the thought process was there. CeeDee Lamb, 6 catches, 21 yards. So he matched Lance's 21 yards passing. Yeah, I think the Cowboys do some serious soul searching. I think when usually these teams, it's like when they're down and out, that's when it's usually time to jump on board. I'm less than sold on the Texans as a blow them out team. That's for sure. Especially after last week, it's just disgusting with them. But I had the 3.5, so I can't complain too much. But just disappointed in each and every one of them. I'm not going to mention any names specifically because they know who they are. Al?
Yeah, I'm going to repeat the mantra that Jay and I like to say a lot. You don't lay points with bad teams. Houston has a negative scoring margin on the season. Look, I don't think they're a quote-unquote bad team, but, I define it as a negative scoring margin, and you can't get it, away from that fact. And I'm not laying 7 or more points. I'll lay less than 7 with bad teams, but I'm not laying 7 or more. Those teams going back 45 years are 237 and 320 ATS. So Houston qualifies in that negative situation. I understand Dallas is dog shit. We've gone on and on and on about how bad they are versus winning teams or whatever, but it's 7.5 points. So there's a lot of leeway, and I'm just going to grab it.
Fair enough. Well, that concludes this episode. It's a longer one, but it was a lot we had to talk about today.
A lot of meat on the bone.
Yeah, a lot of meat on the bone this week. But we appreciate each and every one of y'all joining us per usual. Of course, come Sunday, we'll have our best bets over at Pick Dawgz Premium. So make sure you catch those over there. Mitch, Al, any final words before we get out of here?
Bet with your heads, not over it, and go Chargers, go.
Al?
I've got no. My brain is mush right now.
That's how I am.
Fair.
We shot this on Wednesday or Thursday, and it's massive college basketball card this weekend and tomorrow. Oh my God, tomorrow's crazy.
I know, NBA full card tomorrow too, in-season tournament. Hell of a weekend on the horizon, fellas. Let's do what we do. Let's make some money this weekend. See y'all soon. Hop on a 3-day pass for all of us and scoop up everything we got for the weekend, man. We'll see y'all soon. We out of here. Peace.